If I told you that you could turn just 100 reais into 10,000, would you believe me? But if I showed you how, maybe everything would change. Most people never become wealthy, not because they don't know what to do, but because they were never taught how to think the right way. And this is where everything begins. Over the last 6 months, I did something that most people think is impossible. I took a single $100 bill and turned it into $10,000. No luck, no miracles, no need to go viral. Just a strategy that anyone can apply, but almost no one has the discipline to follow. You were trained to believe that you need a lot of money to start. But that is a lie. The people who say that are the ones who never built anything. The truth is simple. Money doesn't come from money. Money comes from the ability to multiply small amounts many times. And whoever masters that inevitably becomes wealthy. Everything started when I decided I would never complain about my life again. I was tired of watching other people get results, while I kept telling myself my time will come. Enough of that. Either you act, or you watch someone else who did. So I took the only $100 I had left that month. No excuses, no fear, no perfect plan. And I made the first move. The first multiplication didn't take 6 months. It took 3 days. And this is where most people watching this video will get it wrong. Because it's not about what I bought, it's about why I bought it, how I calculated the risk, how I learned to remove emotion from the decision, and most importantly, how I repeated this process over and over until I reached 10,000. Pause. But before I show you exactly what the first step was, you need to understand something. The most important information in this video is at the end. If you skip, you lose everything. Let's continue. There are 2 kinds of people watching this video right now. The first is already waiting for the part where I tell exactly what I did, to copy it and try to do the same fast without thinking. The second is listening, because they understand that the method comes after the mind. If you don't change the way you think, it doesn't matter what you do. You will lose everything. Money is a reflection, not of your strength, not of your intelligence, but of what you are capable of doing repeatedly. Without giving up, what really turns 100% reais into 10,000 is not the strategy. It is the capacity to endure the discomfort of the process, to start small, to not yet look big to anyone. The world wants you to feel small when you begin, because if you accept that, you never begin, and those who don't begin never arrive. That's why I started with 100% reais. Because it didn't matter how much I had, but who I was becoming while learning to multiply. Now, I'm going to show you the move I made. But don't expect something glamorous. Don't expect something flashy. Because true wealth doesn't begin with what you see. It begins with what you can sustain for long enough. The first multiplication came from something everyone ignores, because it seems too simple. I bought something I knew was undervalued. Something I knew, something I had already used. Something other people wanted, but hadn't yet recognized the value of. I didn't gamble. I observed. I saw it before the rest. And this is where almost everyone gives up. Because hearing this doesn't feel magical enough, doesn't feel fast enough, doesn't feel easy enough. But that's exactly why it works. I'm going to show you now exactly what I bought and how I multiplied that amount for the first time. But if you don't understand the reason behind that choice, you will lose money. So breathe. Pay attention, because this is where it all really begins. The first step was simple, almost too simple. I went to the places where people get rid of things that still have value: Facebook groups, OLX, online marketplaces, thrift stores, neighborhood bazaars. Places where the problem isn't the product, it's the seller's hurry. People don't sell things for what they're worth. They sell them for the price of their urgency. And where there is hurry, there is opportunity. I knew I needed something I already understood, something I had used, something whose condition I could recognize. Because when you start small, you are not buying an object. You are buying what you can see that others don't. So I focused on something simple, a used pair of headphones from a known brand in great condition, sold cheaply by someone who just wanted to get rid of it fast. I paid $100, without trying to haggle, because sometimes insisting to pay less has a cost far greater than the money itself. I knew exactly where to resell it. A group in my city, people who look for functional items but don't want to pay retail prices. I listed it for $180. Sold in 3 days. Think about it. I didn't get rich there, but I did something far more valuable. I proved to myself that it was possible to multiply. And when you prove that to yourself, everything changes, because now you're not trying to believe anymore, and that's where the rise begins. In the next part, I'll show you how I turned $180 into $500, and how $500 became $2,000. Step by step, slow, quiet, invisible, but inevitable. After the first sale, something changed. I was no longer trying to believe it was possible. I had seen it happen, and once you see it, the world never looks the same again. With the $180, I didn't look for something bigger. I looked for something better, and I found an opportunity that was even more obvious: a mechanical keyboard, used, almost new, sold by someone who had just upgraded to a better model. Price, $180. Real perceived market value, between $330 and $500. I could have sold it for $330 and made a quick sale, but I listed it for $450 because I knew the right audience: gamers, programmers, people who value the feeling, not just the object. It took 1 week. $180 became $450. $450 was no longer $100 multiplied. $450 was proof that the process worked. With that amount, I entered a market most people overlook: used photography equipment, lenses, tripods, microphones, studio lights, items that lose value quickly in the hands of someone who doesn't know how to use them, but gain value in the hands of someone who knows how to explain what they are worth. I bought a used 50mm lens for $450, cleaned it, photographed it well, wrote a careful description, sold it for $900. I repeated this 2 more times. In just over a month, $450 had become nearly $2,000. $2,000 was the turning point, because at that moment, I was no longer multiplying objects. I was multiplying decisions. With $2,000, I moved into larger purchases: monitors, graphics cards, used laptops in excellent condition. Where most people fear losing, there is room for those who evaluate with calm. And after 6 months, $100 had become $10,000. But that is not the most important part, because the money was not the greatest achievement. The real victory was this: I never again looked at small money as something useless, because now I know what turns a little into a lot is not the amount, it's the awareness. Now you know how I did it. And I could end the video here, but the real question is not what I did. It's what you are going to do now that you know it's possible. Most people will close this video and return to their routine, but a few will feel something burning inside. That quiet discomfort of someone who knows they were meant for more. If you are one of those, then this was only the beginning.